Hello, Dr. Karen Can here. Welcome to another edition of the Spiritual Medicine Digest. And I know I've been talking a lot about dimensional anatomy lately. And in the past, when I was creating my TOLPAKAN healing method and I was basically taking dictation from source, I was being told about dimensional anatomy and I didn't really understand what it meant, but I'm a good student, so I took dictation and tried to explain it the best as I could. Now, fast forward to now, my mentor Marcus Bird has told us a lot more about sacred geometry and how that is part of our dimensional anatomy. So now things are starting to make sense. And what we found out this past week for light being star seeds is that for them in particular, they are evolving in general faster than non-light being star seeds. So first of all, let's back up. What are light being star seeds? So starseeds are people in a human body, in this context, in a human body that have other lives, if you will, or soul experiences as an alien. So a non-human, in other words. Now, light being starseeds means that they have soul experience as a light being, a being of light with no body. Not nobody, but no body, no manifested body. Although some could argue some light being species can project or look like they have a body and then not be in a body and so on and so forth, which is very flexible of them. Now, in this particular state as a human, we are like fairly solid, right? I mean, we are pretty dense, if you know what I mean. I don't mean dense up here, but I mean, energetically dense. So for light being starseeds to go from that light being state as a soul, having that experience, into a dense human form is sometimes more of a challenge than they ever imagined when they're a soul and going, wow, it'd be really great to come to Earth and help out with the ascension, right? And then they come here and all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, I'm confined to this meat suit. What is this? And it can be really, really difficult. Now, we have for most of us, our memories erased before we come in so we can truly experience life as a human and then rediscover who we really are as a soul connected to the one. Now, light being starseeds, excuse me, this past week had the unique experience of having their dimensional anatomy, which includes sacred geometric structures within our form, evolve to a higher level thanks to the ascension process and a lot of what I call source light or source codes coming in. And oftentimes it comes in through the top and then gets, if all goes well, distributed throughout the body. Now, the really interesting interface between this is not what I thought before. Now, I often will say the nervous system is the interface between the physical and metaphysical. I think much of that is still true. However, when we talk about the ascension upgrades and these source light coming in, these source codes coming in, the actual interface that I've been coming up with and have been documenting is actually water, but not like any old water in your body. As many people know, we're 70% or more water in our bodies. And it's more like structured water. And where's this structured water? Where's this gel-like structured water, which is, by the way, the fourth phase of water? You got, liquid, right? You've got steam or vapor, you've got frozen ice, and you have a fourth phase we never were taught in school, and that is structured water within our own bodies. And this structured water can hold lots of information and light, apparently. So when these source codes come in, they the water that's within the fascial layers, and there's a lot of fascia in our body. In fact, we probably have more fascia than other kinds of cells. Collagen is for example, the most common protein that we have in our body, and that totally makes sense. So there is fluid, or in this case gel, and fluid between all these different layers of the fascia, which encompasses and surrounds and embraces every other cell, organ, pathway, nerve, bone, etc. in our bodies. And sometimes, the fascia becomes denser and then becomes like a tendon or ligament or, something like that. So if you're curious as to what the heck is fascia, never heard of about that, imagine if you are a meat eater, for example, and you are trying to take the skin off chicken. Not that I would recommend that, because saturated fat is good for you now, apparently. So, so if you're trying to take the skin off of a raw chicken, you'll see that kind of spider webby kind of stuff that makes it stick to the chicken, right? That's fascia, and we have that enclosing all of our structures. So fascia is very, very important. It really is like a communication network. It is our internet in our bodies. So when the ascension upgrades occur, we often will get upgrades in the fascia and the fluid, and the light coming in will be stored or held or contained in the EZ water, which is what the fourth phase of water is called, exclusion zone water, or you can call it gel water, or you can call it, structured water, whatever you want to call it. That's where the energy is held. So what's really interesting is, as the light being starseeds were evolving their dimensional anatomy and the sacred geometry within them, becoming, I think, more complex. We talked about in other videos about how the water is like a mandala, in our bodies, and can continue fractalizing or becoming more and more complex, which is normally a good thing. Now, when this happens, the Earth itself, the planet that we live on, is also having her own evolution dimensionally. Yes, so the Earth has its own dimensional body and its own dimensional anatomy. And guess what? Her dimensional anatomy also evolves, expands, whatever you want to call it. So for light being starseeds in particular this week, there was an interesting interplay of relationships that may have manifested into something unusual or uncomfortable, sometimes in the body. So imagine that all sacred geometric structures of all of life, if you will, interact with each other in a certain way. You almost kind of need visuals here, but just imagine it in your mind that the sacred geometry within your body communicates and has a relationship with sacred geometry of the planet you're in, and there is a period of time where there needs to be a restabilization of that relationship. Well, that happened this week, and as we started, especially light being starseeds, trying to do that restabilization, sometimes the source light coming in is so fast, so quick. Light being starseeds in this dense human form have a little bit of a glitch or difficulty doing that. So they may have noticed some musculoskeletal issues. Sometimes maybe you take more energy to get this relationship rebalanced. So maybe you might feel a little bit more tired or sleeping more. Who knows? There could be anything. You don't have to have symptoms, okay? It's just that sometimes people think, what did I do wrong? Did I eat something wrong? What did I do? Did I have a toxin? Was it EMF, right? So they're trying to think of negative things that have happened to them. And sometimes it's not a negative thing. It's a positive thing. It's part of our evolution. And there's a little bit of chaos as we readjust to that new higher vibration. So each of us have this sacred geometric structure relationship with our planet's sacred geometric structures. So if you are not from here, right, but you live here, you still need to rebalance that relationship. And if you're from, another planet, when you're on that other planet, you would again rebalance yourself in that relationship. And what I heard from Marcus is that there are pyramids in pretty much every single inhabited planet in the universe. So there's something about this pyramid octahedron shape which helps us kind of interface our dimensional bodies with the planet's dimensional body. So I think that's pretty interesting. And that's one of the reasons why I have projected pyramid octahedron around me when I'm doing healing work before I go to bed. I actually have Ascension 3 pyramids in my bedroom, and I've actually set 4 of them on the floor around 8 feet apart to actually help project an octahedron around my husband and I. Now this is very, 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 very fast healing, okay, because these are pretty powerful. So for new people, I would say don't do that, because the speed of healing can be too fast and it can be really uncomfortable. A lot of negative emotions can come up for clearing, and that is not so fun. So we had an experience of that in our family, and had to turn down the speed. So we just told all the pyramids. I actually asked my significant other, I said, I think maybe I should move those pyramids. He goes, no. I'm like, okay. So I'm like, can you guys just kind of turn it down a bit, like maybe 30% of how fast you're healing, and the next day, completely different. I was like, thank you. Anyway, lots of cool things that you can do with TOLPAKAN Healing and Ascension 3. Now, here's the interesting thing as well. When the sacred geometric structures within our bodies are not restabilizing into its perfect balanced shape, we get what are called Archimedean solids, which are not the Platonic solids. They are the kind of weirdly misshapen, geometric structures that kind of sort of don't look like anything, kind of like a little bit of a mush. So that's not healthy for a physical form to have the geometric structures informing our physical form, how to manifest, right? So we want to rebalance the sacred geometric structures. There's many different ways of doing it, I believe. One of the ways we learned in Marcus's program is through frequencies and tones that you can play as an MP3 or a wave form, and to rebalance it. With TOLPAKAN Healing, we can do something very similar. And here's the thing, there are multiple ways of doing it. So if for whatever reason my method doesn't work for you, you can use another method, right? So one of the things you want to check if you do divine muscle testing is how stable and well balanced is the shape of my sacred geometry within my form or within my dimensional body. Now, you might get a percentage out of 100%. We want 100, right? Now, if you're like, well, I got an 80, but there are multiple forms. So is that the best? No. That's the average. So you might even ask, what's the least stable and balanced sacred geometric form in my dimensional body right now? And in your mind, include all timelines, okay? So you might get 30% happy, okay? Well, because you're checking all timelines, you're checking the lowest one. So then once you have that, you can then do the healing with that intention of rebalancing and restabilizing all of the sacred geometry within you. And then we can rebalance and improve and optimize the relationship between you and this planet. I'm assuming that if you're watching this, you are physically on this planet. And if you're not, and if you're watching this on another planet, you want to do it for your planet. So where I say Earth, you go ahead and say your planet's name, okay? Okay, we're having fun today. All right, so we're going to do the TOLPAKAN Healing Activation. And if you're brand new to my channel, first of all, you definitely want to hit subscribe and hit the notification bell on YouTube. And you'll get a notification of the next video that I share. And would love for you to put in the comments what it felt like after we do this activation. So what we want to have you do first is kind of get into your body. So we want to have you focus on the body. And one of the ways you can do this is through my technique, stillness through observing internal movement. So STOEM for short. You can rub your hands, get the body moving, jump up and down, wiggle a little bit, whatever gets the energy moving in your body. And then close your eyes if it's safe for you to do so. And just focus on the inside of your body. Feel any energy or movement, and then follow that with your attention. Follow the flow. Where does it go? Where does it not go? Don't judge it. Just follow the flow and let that be there. And you can keep your eyes closed for the activation. So if you'd like to receive this positive activation, you just make the internal decision, yes, I'd like to receive. And then as I do the TOLPAKAN Healing Directive, you can then fully receive those energies if it's for your highest and greatest good. So here we go. I now command that every sacred geometric structure within your dimensional body be completely rebalanced, restabilized, reoptimized in the highest and best way, all directions of time and all timelines where you exist. Thank you. I now command that your relationship between your sacred geometric dimensional body structures and those of Mother Earth be optimized, rebalanced in the highest and best way, all directions of time with ease, speed, and grace in all timelines where you exist, where you're on Earth. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so go ahead and open your eyes if you had your eyes closed. So love for you to write down in the chat what that activation felt like in the body. Where did you feel movement? Did it go anywhere? What did it feel like? Now, it can take some time for TOLPAKAN Healing Activations to fully process, so that could be a day or two or a couple of hours, depending on how quickly you process energy. And again, if you had any other ahas or any other things to add to this conversation about sacred geometry and our dimensional anatomy, do please put your comments underneath this video. I'd love it. So I do have some announcements for this week. On Monday's radio show, I have the great pleasure of interviewing Indra Rinzler, and he's an astrologer, spiritual coach, and expert, and we're going to be talking about waking up to your true self. Now, I know a lot of people talk about that, right? But do you really know what that means? We have been taught that I, the me, is this body, it's these thoughts, it's these emotions. But what if it wasn't? What if that wasn't who we really are? But if it isn't, then who are we really, right? So we're going to discuss that and kind of go deep in the spiritual journey and what a spiritual path actually may look like for all of us, the similarities between all of these things. Some people are like, oh, I want to do my spiritual purpose, which they think is a job. Actually, it's not. That is a vehicle that you use or can use if you choose to do this other thing, which is the actual spiritual path. So if you're interested in joining the conversation, join us Monday at 12 noon Eastern, where we will have the phone lines open. You can call in, comment, ask a question, get maybe some mini coaching from our guest. I think you really, really enjoy the show. Now, some other announcements. We are well into the swing of the fall telesummit season, which usually starts in September. So I have some wonderful friends and connections with the telesummits that I'm involved in this fall, including the UWealth Revolution Fall Telesummit and the Alchemy of Ascension and the Trauma Relief Summit. That's a brand new summit I'm in with my friend Deanna Hansen of Block Therapy. So lots of great things, lots of great speakers. Of course, I'm speaking in each of these summits. I really hope you get to listen in on each of those, and we'll be giving you an email when it's closer to the time that mine will be launching. So you definitely want to be on the email list. You can go to KarenCan.com and get any one of the freebies on the homepage, and that will put you right into our mailing list. So also every week I do a Healthy Habits, Healthy Life video, usually on a Sunday. Last Sunday's was about magnesium oil. So if you're interested in learning more about magnesium and magnesium oil, you can click the link and you can watch that video and replay. Last but not least, on Monday in the evening, 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern, I will be co-hosting a LifeWave phototherapy patch presentation and a Q&A with my good friend Mary Perry, who is an angel intuitive and healer, a Seraphim Blueprint healer. So we are going to be talking about some of the latest data to come out of the LifeWave research, including the X39, X49, and how it may support bone health. So if that's new to you, you may want to show up for that. And this is an open invite if you're on my mailing list, and if you're watching this, so you can go ahead and join us on this special presentation on Monday. We do have a limit of, I believe, 500 people for the meeting. I don't think we'll go that far, that high, but so definitely want to show up on time and early so you can watch the presentation that I'll be doing, and then Mary will help me with the Q&A as well. So if you have some questions that you would like my 2 cents on, whether that be as an acupuncturist, or as a LifeWave patching expert for 17 years, happy to share what I know with you. So we'll put those links near this video as well, so you can go ahead and just click the link at 7 and join in. So that is it for this week. Thank you so much for joining me for this week's Spiritual Medicine Digest, and happy ascending. We'll look forward to chatting with you next week. Remember to comment and hit subscribe, maybe a like button if you like this video. Bye for now.